Antigonish is probably one of the best places to fish eels in Nova Scotia. For years, for hundreds, thousands of years. So when I go there, I think about all those Mi'kmaq who fished there in the past and wonder about what the future has for us, eel fishing in Antigonish.
Kadawa, Deujim Kededa sit, Mi'kmaq. Mpison na buwa ka kadari ito. Kodini kaya akpid melkwis kedes kes nakada. Oswado na kadari. Dojua edi bidado nakpidin kala. Managis padeng na kiljimel geda kodini ko much. Amskot lau udan ka mendemo bokci wenari jaga. Buat ki gabi jo la di, mendemo doni wenada. Gabi jo ti jaga is. Ambegi singkais Uncle Simon. Moralu kamaji bas. Ribani maji. Telemaji ya. Unjudi amungu goncha. Buat ki ga. Tawigal japche ma amigo. Talip kidauk sidak. Aptakan ariak sebatak wilu. So delo ini na bugol tang ho ya. Jinem pislade gilla. Dan ni gis ko wis tees na ko madam wis delo ini mo de biano mi jipchewi. Chidna gamok. After we in someone it bugol ta ho kisi go dasik. Dan mudlewi no. Madaha mudaji ge kanok dan was kawasi mi mej kado mana gisego project kaleji dak na madam mudabiana wiyip chewe muda da bo mo kanok samban jidna mo kisi bugel no munadel we ni no wakado mo step kisala uchi samsa elidas waltijik adgestle ni ge jiga wigela kada unok tugot Puolta hoitela adasik mustalaru negam.
So we went out and I showed your son how we cut a hole in the ice with an axe, a round hole, and then basically showed him the spear that we use, and we caught a couple eels. We caught 3 eels, I believe. Like it's just being out there, it's like a little community when you're out on the ice. You meet people. You don't see them anywhere else. Sometimes you'll see them in Tim Hortons or something, but you've met them on the ice. And you only know them that way. It's fishing. And the only time you get to see them is in the wintertime. And sometimes you don't see this person anymore and you wonder what happened to him. He either passed away or he's too old to fish, and you wonder who's getting eels for him or her.
Hi, my name is Shelley Denny, and I'm the biologist for the Unama'ki Institute of Natural Resources. And today I'll be talking a bit about eels and the study that we've been doing in the Bredor Lakes and what we've learned about them so far. This eel it measures 602 millimeters or 60.2 centimeters, so it's a typical eel that we would find here in the Bredor Lakes. Many of our fishers don't get them very small, so they usually get them around this size or slightly smaller. So after we take the length, we go and measure how heavy it is. And it's 413 grams. So in order to tell how old an eel is, you have to remove the odolets. And the odolets are special structures that are located within the brain that they use for orientation. And they're also pretty good because they record growth rings, growth patterns. So by removing them and having them sent away, we can actually age this fish and see how old he is, or she. Well, this is an eel odolet that we send away to be aged. And then we take the information back from the age to apply it to the length category of the fish. So it helps us determine the age of other fish that we can't afford to identify. Well, all eels are born in the same place in the Sargasso Sea near Bermuda. All eels, the ones in Newfoundland, Gulf of St. Lawrence, Bredor, Florida eels, they all come from the same place. Their population is known as panmictic. It means that they come from one genetic population. Once eels spawn, they presumably die, and the eggs quickly hatch into larvae known as leptocephali, and they drift on the ocean's currents for about a year or so. After about a year, they change their shape again. They leave the glass leaf-like shape and become more eel-like in appearance, only they're see-through, and they're known as the glass eels, and they drift. They're more of an active swimmer, and they can, those are the eels that come into the rivers. Once they hit the rivers, they change their color and become pigmented, so they take on the typical eel colors, and then they hide for several years, coming out when they get larger to once they can avoid predators more efficiently, and they stay, in our Bredor lakes and in our rivers for many, many, many years. Well, we don't age these odolets ourselves. We send them away, and there are people who specialize in fish aging, and they are the ones who embed them in a resin block, and then they sand them away very carefully until they're about halfway exposed, stain them, take a digital image of them, and then determine how old they are.
That's what we're at. I like eels. I like eating eels, and I guess when you like a certain food, it's like you're building a memory of your family, your home, the people you fished with. And when you eat that kind of food, you remember people, and it brings you to a real good place in your mind. We, the Mi'kmaq, have this fish as food. It's a priority over commercial fishing and recreational fishing.
Well, bukan kau kisi kena udah buat, macam ni maju ini orang batu kalau kita ambil kau sekarang ni. Kedua, tu juga bejuk siapa lah picture really tu juga pasal ada ni kan. Ni akan ada kaya kita kita bila mereka dia ketik. Ya, nak kaya ada kita ketik. Kau ni ke ala maligomis gitu. Tu juga apa? Mungkin kat tema ni ada lah, kalau tema ya. Kau mida sultu. Kedan hati, misalnya nudai. Iki nama jual je, iki uski gudi je, me tradition lah. Kita unduk, toh nudah, kena udah muksino ap, kena udah muksino. Kiji demai, kau media, kiji demai, kena udah mai punch. Kudi 20, don't have me lagi gitu. Kena udah masuk tiga, ni apa dua koi, abi kedua ni luna. Cuma duit kedua aku bagai. Sada mau ni nak kau tu je kisku. So akademi di syak ni ni ke juga degi, belum boleh. Juga ada ala ikik. Important tu je ni sih kini mana na. Bisun ada lebih di midi kado. Aku lah sebenarnya juga je kalau tadi. Mu pasal lautan. Nasi lautan des go.
My heart to a Galway girl. Hey!
Well, Lucha, Barton Hill, Lucha, you know. Was kan best centralized with him now, like about 1946, you know, Kijana, best centralized with him, the guys. This is on it, you know. But ignorance government, the Macamigo, that is a kiss away, man, Macamigo. That is a kiss was a guy to Macamigo, they were not to the man, you know. Well, build the wood, Karugada, more important to you, you know. And mostly Boston go on, what is Gadi uncle, the worker, Boston go, let the get it go. So get you donor, that did it. You don't go and do that, that Gadi gets it, and we do all the go. Go jail, let's see, I sana well. I wish that he's somebody, you know, take it away, that I like that somebody, you know, what is. Boy, the pike that of somebody, of the palm is over a life, you know, still greed the wall when I bit to one, what time is on the button cake, you know. We want him as well, beach one, then was going to Chila Chino. And I say, Chian, tell me span, Davina, Kadakamu. That'll be the Kadakamu, the way to go to a hectare when get it off, you know, go to
We lived in Antigonish, right outside of Antigonish. It's called Antigonish Landing, and we lived out there. My grandparents lived there, and we lived in a little shack on this property of these people. These people let us live there. We used to have visitors. A lot of people came to our place in Antigonish, and they used to coming from Cape Breton, they would stop at our house and visit and then keep going. And then from the people from the mainland, they would come and stop at our house and keep going. And I guess that's how, you know, the idea of fishing eels came about, because all that information was traded. In the wintertime, he would take us out on the ice, and he would drill a hole in the ice, and he would go eeling, and we'd be there all day. He enjoyed taking us and allowing us to actually eel with the eel spears. Dad would clean the eels and skin the eels, and sometimes he would sort of fillet them, and he'd hang them up, and he would bake them in the oven, and they used to call that wasau, and boy, that was delicious. Oh my God, we loved it. Every morning he would make that for us in a big pot of porridge, and just the smell of it made us wake up real fast.
My heart to a Galway girl. Hey! Sonny lives on a farm, on a wide open space. You can take off your sneakers and give up the race. You can lay your head down by the sweet river bend. But Sonny always remembers what his mama said. Sonny, don't go away, I'm here all alone, and your daddy's a sailor and he watches the sea by the room, by the stairs, and the waves keep on rolling. They done that for you.